So welcome everybody. This is Kara from iStampin.com. Thank you for joining me on my iStampin Live. Before we get started, I do a giveaway each week, but there won't be a giveaway this week because I was out of town last week. But to get into the giveaway, just hit that share button right next to the comment box and share this to your friends on your Facebook page. And then comment that you shared it, and your name will go into the drawing for next week's giveaway. Okay, so this is the card that we're making, and oh my gosh, I love this bundle. It's the stitched all around stamp set along with the stitched label framelits. It's on page 17 of the annual catalog. I don't know if y'all have seen it yet, but this is just absolutely darling. I used this stamp right here a few weeks ago. I can't remember what I made, but it's a really cute stamp set. So let me show you all of the supplies that you will need to make this card. But let me do one thing real quick. I just wanted to make sure that those of y'all who are watching, or if you're watching this recorded, that you know about my BOGO online event that started today. So if you head on over to iStampin.com, you'll see the post that I have up for today, and it will give you the link of all of the items that you can choose for free when you purchase from the new catalog. So here it gives you all of the directions on how the BOGO sale works. So if you want some really good, awesome deals, you can see all the stuff that I have to offer. And I'm keeping the list up to date. So it is live, and so you'll be able to, things that are crossed off or those have been spoken for, but you can see everything else. It's a great deal. Okay, so now let's get going with the products you're gonna need. Okay, so obviously you're gonna need the bundle, and you do save 10% when you purchase this as a bundle. The ink colors you will need are Night of Navy and Poppy Parade. You're going to need your 2 1/4 inch circle punch, your Whisper White Baker's twine, and I'm going to change it up. I'm going to use the gold metallic thread. I'm not too crazy about the sequins. I think the gold metallic thread will be just a lot easier. Okay, so for the paper, you're going to need a Very Vanilla note card. And then you're going to need another Very Vanilla piece of cardstock. This is just a panel. I've cut this 1/4 inch smaller. So this is 3 1/4 by 4 3/4. You will just need a scrap of vellum that will be big enough to punch your 2 1/4 inch circle, some Pool Party and Poppy Parade cardstock. Just like I said, they're just scraps. Then for the embossing, you'll need the Ruffled Texture Impressions embossing folder. So of course you're going to need your Big Shot. And then for adhesive, I'm just using dimensionals, both the big, the regular size I should say, and the mini, and then glue dots and snail. And I think that's about it. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to change this up. I know I make a lot of thank you cards, and this may not be a sentiment that you use a lot of. So I'm going to change it up. We're going to use this stamp. This You Are My Only Sunshine. I thought that was really cute. And we're going to go ahead and keep the same colors just to make it easier. So we're going to change that stamp up. I thought that would be really cute. So let's go ahead and get out our Very Vanilla note card. And what we'll do, these are already cut and pre-scored. You get 20 in a pack with matching envelopes. So this is, when you fold it, it's 3 1/2 by 5. And just gonna fold it right here. And then go ahead and take your bone folder and then just burnish on that fold line, and you'll get a really nice crisp crease. Okay, Now I'm going to bring in my Very Vanilla panel, and let's go ahead and do our embossing. So I am just going to, and this is one of our thicker embossing folders. I think they call it the 3D Dynamic or something like that. It's a mouthful, honestly. I just call it embossing folder. And I'm just going to get that straight in there, and let me get the big shot. And while I'm doing that, is everybody having a good 4th? I know one of you said you're working. Who was that? Jewel. Oh, you don't have to work today. Oh, okay, good, good. I thought you were having to work today. I was like, that's not fair. Oh my gosh, Sonia, there are so many beautiful products in the catalog. Okay, so here's my big shot. My paper shifted, so I'm just gonna get that straight again. Now, because this is the thicker embossing folder, you wanna make sure that all you put on your big shot for your sandwich is the big shot platform, and then we'll put the embossing folder down next, and then a clear acrylic plate on top. Because it's thicker, we don't need that bottom acrylic plate. I'm trying to do this where I don't shake the table too much. So when we're done, it looks like that. And I'll see if y'all can see the subtleness of that ruffle. It's just really, really pretty. Okay, but before we put it on the panel, we're going to tie some Whisper White baker's twine around the card. And I've got about 16 inches, so this should be plenty. And I'm just going to tie a bow on the left side. And what I'd like to do first is I like to make a knot, and then that really helps, whoops, that really helps me to keep the string tight and it doesn't slip when I'm making the bow. So this is a little trick. So now it's nice and tight, and I don't have to worry about my fingers slipping or something like that. That always happened to me before. All right, and let's just make a bow. God, it was storming earlier today. I was like, oh no, that's not the kind of 4th of July we want, but the sun's out and it's hotter than you know what here in Florida. So, but at least it's sunny. Jump in the pool or something like that a little bit later today. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and leave the strings long until we're done with the card, and I can trim them up at that time. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put this on the panel, or on the card base, I should say. Oops. So we'll just put a little bit of snail here on this embossed panel, and just put it on there evenly. There we go. So a nice little tone on tone texture. It's really cute. And then let's go ahead and punch out our circle. So I've just got a piece of vellum right here. If I can get it in there. There we go. I'm just going to punch that out. We'll save that for a little bit later. Oh, you're in South Carolina, Linda? Oh my gosh. This heat, every year it seems to get worse and worse, but I think it has to do with my age. It's just like, oh my gosh. I tell my husband, I wish we were wealthy where we could have 2 houses, one up in the north or in the mountains in the summertime, and then our Florida house in the fall and spring. Okay, so I'm just inking this up in Poppy Parade and stamping it on the Poppy Parade to give it a little tone on tone. And then what I want to do next is go ahead and clean off my stamp. So I've got my Simply Chamois in one of our stamp cases, and it really makes it easier to clean. It kind of gives you a base. I love that tool. Okay, and now I'm going to stamp it again. in Night of Navy, and I'm going to stamp that on the pool party. And we're just going to be cutting out the sunshine part. And my Night of Navy ink pad is like really, really dry. So I need to order a new one. So hopefully the sunshine part. Yeah, so the sunshine part we're just going to cut that out. Okay, I'm going to clean that again. Go ahead and close this. All right, so let me bring my Big Shot back in, and I'm going to be using this die cut right here, the circle, and this die cut is beautiful. I am all about the details, so that's why I like this set so much. I don't know if you can see it here on the sample, but it stitches on the inside of the circle, and then you have this adorable little detail on the outside of the circle. I just think that's so cute. And here, let me show you the other framelits that come in this collection. So you've got two borders. So this is stitched, and this is the little X's, and then this fun little background. And then a smaller stitched circle on the inside, and then that adorable heart. And then on this side, a really pretty detailed floral label, and then this one, and then those two, just really, really great. Oh, that's a good idea, Jewel. That's really a good idea to cut it in half. She cut her chamois in half. Simply chamois. Okay, so let me bring my Big Shot back in. Okay, so since I'm using a framelit, I'm going to be changing up my sandwich. So for this, I've got my magnetic platform, my lovely, well-worn acrylic plates. Okay, and we're just gonna put this right up here. It's really easy to line up. I think that looks, whoops. I think that looks good. And then just put your acrylic plate on top and then run it through. So when it's all done, it's going to look like that. And if there's these little bits that are in there, just take your fingers or scissors or whatever. It pops out really, really easily. So can y'all see that? Isn't that just darling? I love it. And I love Poppy Parade. I was so excited when this color came back. It's just such a pretty, pretty color. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out Sunshine. Normally when I do this technique, I leave a little bit of a border, but I tried that and I didn't like it, so I'm actually going to be cutting right below where these straight lines are. And to do this, I'm going to go ahead and bring in my little tabletop trimmer, because sometimes I can't cut that straight. So let's try this. And the great thing is if I don't cut enough, I can just trim more. Okay, that looks good. And then let's see if I can do it again. Nope. Move it just a little bit more. And hopefully this will be straight. That looks pretty good. I think I did a good job there. All right. So now what I'm going to do is put that on there, and I need to figure out where I need to cut. So I'm just going to make a little mark, whoops, on each side. Okay. And if I have to cut it down, I can, which I think I'm gonna have to do it on the left side a little bit. Oh, nope. Okay. So it's not quite even, but that's okay. All right, now this is a pretty thin little strip, so you're actually going to have to cut your mini dimensionals in half. So let me just go ahead and put this one on there. So you'll just need 1.5 dimensionals. Okay, and I used my paper piercer to. You can use some washi tape to create a folder for that last. Oh yeah, that's a great idea. You know, I kind of, when I was making my sample, you know, sometimes I use the cardstock to make like a little holder. I use that trick for when I'm using my punch, but I kind of did the same thing for this, and it worked good, but that's a good idea too. Okay, so let me just grab these little papers off. Now, of course, you don't have to do this, but I like this little added detail. If this is too tedious for you, you can completely skip this step. But this is a fun little technique that I like to do. Okay. It's a little off center, but you know, it's handmade. Maybe nobody will notice. Okay, let me try to get this centered again. Okay, that's good enough. All right, so this is what we, this is the sample again. So what we're gonna do is put a little bit of snail on the back side, and then I'm gonna do that little nesting trick that I like to do with the gold metallic thread. And if you haven't seen me do this before, I just, you know, grab, you know, however much thread I think will be enough, and then I just wrap it around my fingers. Hey Marianne, thanks for joining us today. And then I just kind of mush it in there, and then what I like to do is to make sure that my tails are behind the cardstock. I don't like to have the tails sticking out. So that's what it's gonna look like. And I'm gonna go ahead and pop this up. That's what I did on the last one. So I'm just gonna take regular size dimensionals and pop it up. Thanks, Marianne. Marianne, you joined us a little bit later, so I'll tell you before we sign off. I'll show you my what's going on with my BOGO sale right now if you haven't heard about it. And that's just going to go in the center of the vellum. Whoops, that's not the center. Okay, let's see if I can do this without making a mess. Okay, there we go. Hi, Anna. I'm so surprised that y'all are joining me today. Oh my goodness. Okay, this one's a little bit crazy. This one's a little, that one's kind of a little far out. I'll mess with that a little bit later. And then I'm gonna pop this up again. So I'm gonna have this card's gonna have quite a bit of dimension. I just, have any of y'all gotten this bundle, this stitched all around bundle? I'd love to hear what y'all think of it if you have gotten it and been able to play with it. And then that's just gonna go right there in the center. So this little thread is a little bit sticking out a little too much for my taste, but you get the idea. And then I'm gonna go ahead and come in and trim the tails. And then that's it. A really, really simple card. And then here's the first one that I made. So y'all can tell me, you know, if you like the sequins better than the gold metallic trim, but you get the idea of the two different stamps, the thank you and then you are my sunshine. But just a really simple card. That's kind of like what I like to do, you know, just kind of get them done. I mean, this is a little bit more steps, but, you know, didn't take very long at all to do this. So do y'all have any questions? Okay, Marianne said, I can also watch later. I'm actually visiting my daughter in pro. Oh, that's nice. Oh, you like the sequins? Okay. Yeah. The sequins were just a little bit harder for me to manipulate. So I thought I didn't think y'all wanted to see me struggle with that. So that's why I went ahead and did the thread. But you know, the sequins are really easy too. Yes, the ruffles are going from top to bottom. So let me see if I can show you. So they start right here and it ends right there. I do agree, Marianne, the sequins do show up more. So can you see how the ruffles go all the way down? I think that gives you a good idea. And then this one here. So it's just, it's kind of like a really subtle texture, but I love that. I love that embossing folder. So let me, for those of you who joined a little bit later, just want to mention that my BOGO sale started today. It goes through July 14th, and the first page gives you all the directions on how it works. So if you just go over to my blog, istampin.com, look for today's post. It should be the very first thing that pops up. You'll see everything. It will give you a link to I'm using Google Documents, so it's really easy for me to keep this up to date, and you can see everything that is available. So the way it works is that you shop in my online store through the new catalog, clearance rack, and then whatever you spend before tax and shipping, you're able to choose free stuff from my BOGO. So, I mean, it's a great deal. So anyway, well, I thank you, ladies. It really means a lot to me that you joined me on a holiday. So I wish y'all a very safe and happy 4th of July. Eat lots of good food and get out in the sun if you can, and just stay safe, especially with the fireworks tonight. Thanks, guys. Bye.